My name's Erica Charters, and I'm Professor of the Global History of Medicine at the University of Oxford. And it's my very great pleasure to be the special guest editor of the journal Centaurus for its spotlight issue of 2022 on How Epidemics End. This issue came out of a project that started in December of 2020, so right in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, to answer this question: how do epidemics end? And the project brings together over 30 researchers who work on a variety of epidemics that have taken place all over the world and in different periods of time. But these researchers are also from a range of different disciplines. So there's epidemiologists, biologists, archaeologists, historians, political scientists, and they're all answering this question: how does an epidemic end? And so it's been an experiment about doing research in the midst of a pandemic in many ways. The project has a very short timeline. We've had a number of online workshops, making use of online video interviews, and this spotlight issue is its main academic output, published just over a year later in spring of 2022. So this spotlight issue is remarkable for a number of reasons. I think with 18 articles, it has an amazing breadth, but it's also truly multidisciplinary. These are articles written by mathematical modelers, by anthropologists, by archaeologists, by biologists, by historians, each answering this question: how does an epidemic end? But they answer it with reference to a specific epidemic, so it ranges from cholera in 20th century China to plague in Renaissance Italy. But they also each discuss the answer to this question by discussing methodology. So what do you measure when you're trying to say that an epidemic has ended? What do you use to define the end of an epidemic? And so in some ways, this spotlight issue addresses this problem of how little research has been done across many disciplines on this topic of the process of an epidemic's ending. This spotlight issue is therefore particularly rich in the variety of ways that it analyzes epidemics. These 18 case studies demonstrate how epidemics are not just biological or medical phenomena, but they're also fundamentally about politics, about economics, and about society. At the same time, when we compare and we contrast these different disciplinary methodologies, this reminds us of why it's so important to take account of a range of scholarship. So to integrate long-term understandings of epidemics from, say, archaeologists and historians, along with the precision given by mathematical modeling, along with the understanding of the experience of illness that we get from anthropology. So this range of scholarship that's needed in order to understand an epidemic. So I think what makes this spotlight issue so fascinating is not just the individual case studies, but also how all combined, all together, they also highlight how the end process is messy, it's contentious, it's often about disagreement. When various forms of expertise compare, they contest, and they jostle with each other, each arguing who has the authority, who has the methodology that should be used to measure and to define the end of an epidemic. Pandemics and epidemics end in different times and in different places for different groups of people. This issue therefore argues that we need to understand multiple types of ending: the medical end, the social end, and also the political end. And so this is a journal issue that's relevant, of course, to academic specialists, but I think it's also of interest to many of us as we discuss where we are in the midst of this COVID pandemic and how many of these discussions are about arguments to do with authority and expertise, as much as they are also an attempt for all of us to go back and to understand, to reinterpret this epidemic and to try to make sense of it.